That's right. Back at it again. Full custom hot dog here doing another movie review. That's right. Today we're going to be talking about La Casa Lobo, known in English as The Wolf House. It's a Chilean stop-motion animated film. Clocks in just over an hour at about like an hour 15, I think. It's a pretty interesting film, directed by Joaquin Cociña and Cristóbal León. I probably screwed that up a little bit. And kind of going through the IMDb, it looks like they had only directed shorts before, which I'm very curious to see. As you can see from the gallery that I have pulled up, very interesting film. It looks like a bunch of weird mannequins, strange art. Well, these two guys here are artists. This is just kind of what they do. They make cool visual stuff, and they've weaved together not just a very good story, but a very interesting style, something very unique. It's oftentimes very unnerving and creepy. This feels like you're in a house, and that's apt. I guess we should get into what is this about. Well, this, according to IMDb, tells the story of Maria, a young woman who takes refuge in a house in southern Chile after escaping from a German colony. That's really only part of the story. Wikipedia expands a little bit better, talking about how she comes to this abandoned house and is welcomed by these two pigs. And then the movie kind of turns into a child's imagination. She basically turns the pigs into people, and it kind of goes into a children's fantasy after that. Sort of think of Pan's Labyrinth, I guess, except more of the fantasy aspect. It's a very bizarre fairy tale in this very creepy style, again, as you can see here. And it's not something where you're always questioning what's the real world, because everything's so far out and bizarre, but you're just kind of wondering what it leads to. And the ending was pretty satisfying, I felt, too. And this film is also loosely based on a true story. We'll get to some of that in a bit. So as you can see, like I've mentioned, there's some pretty interesting animation here. This is stop motion animation, and they're using life-size models. So they had things practically to scale and sets and everything. And these were set up in temporary art studios, set up in art gallery spaces and exhibitions. And this was done across Europe and in Chile. I think Germany was a site, Sweden, and they would be filming this movie in front of people, which would be a wild trip to see this huge thing being actually just a animated film, a stop motion animated. And again, it's visually it's terrifying and unnerving. I keep using unnerving. I don't want to say terrifying because it's not scary, but it's creepy. You feel like you're in an abandoned house, and almost as if you're shining a flashlight in places that only you can see, and you're watching floorboards shift around and things move. And a lot of the animation here is distracting, but in the right ways, because you're going to be looking at all these details to see how everything's moving around, and it's really cool. It's really unique, which makes this kind of an excellent rewatch, I feel. I've only seen this once, and now it is no longer on Shudder, which I originally saw it. I don't know why. It must have been up there for like 2 weeks or something. But I'm glad I caught it. I'm very thankful I caught it, because I had watched the trailer last year, or 2 years ago even, and uploaded it on my old channel. And I got a little bit of shit because I didn't know what I was talking about. I thought it was like an Argentinian movie or something, but it is Chilean. There's a lot of history behind this movie too, which we will talk about. But it is something that I had been anticipating, because the animation alone looks very cool. It's almost as if you took something like Salad Fingers and you did a live action adaptation. That's what I would think should look like is this. And it's just completely bonkers. Definitely worth seeing. I'll probably be playing a couple clips from the trailer at some point as well, just so you can at least see visuals from the animation. I won't know when, so this is going to be a video where you kind of have to watch sometimes. Maybe not just listen to. But thoroughly just glued to the screen in wonderment of what's going on and where is this going to go. Because this little girl is in this house by herself, and things definitely do not go so well and start to take a turn for the worse. So, I highly recommend going into this movie blind, because yes, this film works very well on its own, but once you start to know the true story behind the film, and that's if you choose to, of course, it becomes even more unsettling. and even heartbreaking. It just hurts in a very deep way. So I'll talk about the true story a little bit, but if you haven't seen the movie yet and are going to pause this, come back. Unless you already know the story, then just watch me reiterate things you already know. So, the film is based on Colonia Dignidad. It's also Dignity Colony. It was a colony of Germans and Chileans founded by Nazis and operational from 1961 to 2007. Pretty far out. To keep it brief, and because it gets pretty gnarly, I'm not going to get into specifics. One, because I don't know a lot of them. Two, because I want to keep it light, but I think this is interesting enough to where maybe you'd want to hear it and explore the topic itself, because this isn't something I knew, that's for sure. So it was surprising to me, let alone that this thing had been going on for so long. But so to keep it brief, numerous atrocities occurred in this camp. Many against children, which the camp's leader was a ex-Nazi welfare worker. He had a predilection to. So pretty awful, horrifying stuff that people are still alive who were here. And this place was so bad, even General Pinochet, if you don't know him, infamous Chilean general, had sent political dissidents to this camp to be tortured. So not only did the Chilean government, but I believe the German government knew that this was happening, that there were people just being tortured and hurt on a terrible basis. And they were complicit for years. It's insane. And it adds this other spin to this movie of holy crap. Like, I obviously I can't tell you without spoiling the ending, but it hurts. It really breaks your heart. And there's some great documentaries out there about Colonia Dignidad, or at least some. I think Al Jazeera actually did a short about it. Was worth watching because these people are still around and they're trying to get their. They grew up in this camp and they have nothing because that camp's gone, of course. And I think one of the articles or videos had mentioned that they're trying to turn it into like a tourist destination, which some people found very disrespectful. It is a rough story, and history is interesting, especially when it's things that are so awful and you can't believe you haven't heard of it. It's insane. So definitely my feelings for this film really hit hard. It went from a movie that I was like, dang, that was pretty good, to wow, my day and potentially my week are absolutely ruined. I was floored. So I like this movie a lot. It resonated with me. The animation's fantastic. I can't wait to watch it again. I'm probably gonna buy this pretty soon, I think. But it's rare for this to happen with me in a movie. My feelings being intensified by ancillary work. I guess whether it be reading an article based on the film, or finding out more, or how the film might have related to one of the writers or director. It's rare that this happens, to where that can kind of change and intensify my feeling about a film. So what I'm wondering is, has this ever happened to you? This has happened to me with this film. If you've seen it, let me know, of course, in the comments. Let me know what you think. If you know much about Colonia Dignidad, and I'm an ignorant American, so definitely feel free to correct anything that I might have misspoken about. Feel free. But has this ever happened to you, where you've enjoyed a film and the homework of it changes it for you, makes it more real and affect you harder? I definitely want to know. I'm curious. So anyway, that's enough about me rambling about this movie. It's definitely a recommend. I don't know if everyone will love it. It might not affect you as it did me on the same level, but it's a great recommend. I definitely told a few people about it right after I watched it, because I couldn't believe not only how good it was, but just the weight of it all. It's fantastic. So I'm your host, Full Custom Hot Dog. You can follow me on Twitter. It's Full Custom Hot Dog without the last O, because that is just too long for Twitter. So thank you all for watching, and until next time. If you like what you see,
I love what I see.
Make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell for notifications so you can watch whatever comes next. And if you like the music you hear, you can follow me on SoundCloud and Spotify. Check the description for links.